Good evening again, and welcome back to Investigator News. And I got a little bit of breaking news on what's going on with Trump, and maybe explain some things to you. We all know anonymous sources this week raid at Mar-a-Lago has something to do with, they say, nuclear weapons. So, of course, it's been a bad week for everyone. Uh, Now, because they got a tip, um, I believe they're just trying to scare us about nuclear weapons. Because as far as I'm seen and or heard about the affidavit and the list, there wasn't no nuclear weapons issues. And this came from an anonymous, no name person feeding the Washington Post like they have for forever on Trump. And not only that, the New York Times. So, will we hear who the source is or sources? I've heard it's a librarian, it's a Secret Service, it's someone that worked there. I think we need to know who the source is because the Democrats have lied for over 50 years. And we're supposed to just believe in nearly 2 years that Trump left the White House and all of a sudden the feds go in unannounced. Um, and, they're after something. And where were they in June when they were welcomed with open arms in a matter of, uh, they were exchanging information, they were exchanging these documents. But what I found out about these documents, what Trump's allowed to do, I think he was really working everything out with them legally and according to the law. Um, they said this was national security. They claimed uh, 19 months later, according to newly released court documents on the raid, it had something to do with the violation of a very broad, rarely used Espionage Act of 1917, and more specifically, the Warren Sites, 18 U.S. 793. And it's gathering, transmitting, or losing defense information, along with 18 USC 2071, which is concealment, removal, or mutilation of records. And then 18 USC 1519, the destruction, alteration, falsification of records in federal investigations, according to the property receipt that the federal agents took. And what approximately 20 box of papers, photos, handwritten notes. There was stuff in there about Roger Stone, material about the president of France, other documents. But according to what's coming out from Washington, there was no mention of nuclear weapons. Um, and a former president did not oppose the release of the property receipt or FBI's warrant on the Truth. Now, on the True Social, um, he said the release of the documents. Now he continued. Um, Not only will I not oppose the release of the documents, um, he says it was just unnecessary the way they broke into his home in Palm Beach, Florida. I'm going to a step further by encouraging the immediate release of these documents. Um, so he has nothing to hide. He did nothing. He did nothing wrong that we know of. Okay, this is kind of too early, folks. These materials were seized by the feds, and they were from Trump's time in the White House. They were packed by government staffers. They were delivered to Trump's post presidential office, no different than any other president before him. Obama, Bush, Clinton, they all took documents. Uh, uh, as you know, I told you tonight, Clinton also took furniture and other things. And by all the way the presidents, this is very important. They all have the power to declassify anything they want to declassify. Now, still, President Trump's office has been cooperating with National Archives and for many months. And according to the statement from them in archives in February, um, the National Archives and Records administration obtained the cooperation of Trump's representatives, and they were to locate presidential records that had not been transferred to the National Archives. And at the end of the Trump administration, they said in writing they were cooperating uh, with Trump's representative, and they handed over several boxes in February. They invited federal officials to Mar-a-Lago to review the remaining materials. As a matter of fact, they did go in June of this year, and they were free to take anything they wanted, according to Trump and his lawyers. They didn't, and they didn't even need a warrant. They were invited to come. They were invited to even come back and look through it or take it or work out an agreement with Trump's lawyers. And Trump said the request, even that they wanted a padlock put in the room and that was storing the documents, and they requested. And so he did it, and he complied. And between June and approximately, they say 30 days ago, they were also in touch with him again on when they wanted the transfer of all the documents that he declassified. So why the raid? On this issue of classification, it could be the very key in all of this. Declassification of these documents. Um, so we're trying to understand how this has happened. So first of all, it's important that to understand the way the classification is currently governed by two executive orders, one in 2003 by President Bush, one in 2009 called 13526. President Obama, it says everybody in the government who wants it to to buy a document must follow declassification procedures. Okay, so anybody that wants to buy a document must follow these declassification procedures, or to declassify, except the president and the vice president. They may declassify anything for any reason at any moment while they are still an incumbent. And if it assists the role to their job, um, that's what governs the decision. Um, so Trump did as he governed, and he handled the classified documents exactly by the order. And the White House, um, he did this, he claims, on a daily basis, approximately 90 days before he left office. Now, the question is, I bet all of you are asking, is there any specific process that the president must go through to have the right to declassify anything? Is there anything he must do to prove declassification took place? Now, this is a section, President Section 3.5 of the executive order I just mentioned. And the first by Bush, the later by Obama, says everyone has everybody has to follow the procedure except the president and the vice president. And the vice president and the president may do anything. Now, each president may have their own orderly way of doing it, so they keep track of things, but it has to be by this law. And it's pretty clear in the executive order that the president and vice president have the absolute authority. So this occurred during the Bush years. And I've been telling you a little bit since February that this dispute came a lot from a standing order. Now, I didn't really know what a standing order, and I kept looking around. I couldn't really find anything on this. So basically, what it is when he left office and he took everything to Mar-a-Lago, basically That's what a standing order is. It means he can take them home as a standing order. And he says basically everybody can relate that, they have to take their work home from time to time. And he's not the only president that's done this, because we know that Clinton, Bush, Obama had all taken uh, uh, classified information to declassified when they left office. So American presidents are no different than what Trump did. Um, and often they took documents, including classified documents, to residents. And that's what a standing order. The documents removed from the Oval Office, taken to a residence, were deemed to be declassified. And the moment removed them, um, the power to classify and declassify the documents rests solely with the presidents of the United States. Now, the FBI, if asked about if the president did declassify, everyone came up with this blank stare tonight, from what I've been able to see. And the president says that he confirmed he used that process. Um, so someone, so if so the it would be declared declassified under an executive order, and I'm sure we'll hear a lot of legal experts. I'm not a legal expert. I'm just going on what I've been able to pick up all over the internet tonight on this order. So the president is exempt from the normal way they need to classify doctrines, and that they are aware of this policy, and he was. The other thing is when they declassify them, there's marks. They they stamp it or they mark it, from what I'm getting, and this proves that he declassified it. So this is something that we may hear about or we may not. I know it's really late, and I did want to jump in and give you guys this information and maybe clear up a little bit on this. Probably tomorrow night when I do trivia, if you guys have any questions on this, let me know. So as far as we know, he was under the law. He was allowed to take that to Mar-a-Lago under the law, and you can go back and listen again. He was able to store them and declassify them. And the presidents have the right to do that, the vice president and president. So I thought I would just jump in here tonight and give you guys this little bit of info. And there are probably going to be a lot more between now and then. So you guys have a wonderful night, and we will see you tomorrow night. I'm heading to bed. I've been up since 4, and I didn't really want to jump back in, but I guess I did. So you guys be well, sleep well, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
No, you've been a good friend, and nothing was thick and thin.